Hi, guys. Welcome back to Breaking Barriers, the mental health podcast. I'm Lizzy, and with me, as always, is my amazing co host, Camila.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited for today's episode because we're talking about a topic that touches every single relationship, whether it's with your partner, family, or friends, and it is the five love languages.
So let's dive deep into this. Let's get into it right away. The five love languages developed by Dr. Gary Chapman have become a huge part of how we understand relationships today. They offer us insight into how we give and receive love and why that matters for a healthy connection.
So, today we're breaking down each love language and talking about how understanding them can improve your relationships. They can improve how you communicate with the people that you love, and overall how it affects and helps your emotional well being. Plus, we will dig into the psychology behind why this concept works.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to get started. So, let's do a quick overview of the five love languages. Dr. Chapman identifies them as the following. Number one, words of affirmation. Two, acts of service. Three, we have receiving gifts. Four, quality time. And five, physical touch. So, those are the five love languages.
Right. And what's interesting about them is that each of us have a dominant love language. The way we express love to others and the way that we feel love in return often depends on that domain of language. That there's a test available actually on their website that you can take it and it will tell you which is your main love language. If you and your partner, for example, have a different love language, that can create some misunderstanding sometimes unless you're both aware of them.
Yeah, and it really creates those like break in communications, lots of things that can sometimes be misconstrued because if you're not aware of each other's love language, then things can happen. So we're going to get into why that awareness is so important. First, let's break down each love language.
Okay, so first up, words of affirmation. This love language is all about verbal expressions of love and appreciation. Little things like, I love you mean so much to me, drive safe, did you eat today, or even little compliments. People who resonate with this love language thrive on encouragement and verbal validation.
Yeah, and research in psychology shows that positive verbal communication can actually boost self esteem and strengthen relationship bonds. According to studies, expressing affection through words releases oxytocin, also known as the love hormone, which promotes bonding.
I love it. And let's talk now about acts of service. For those people, actions speak louder than words. Things like doing dishes, cooking a meal, or taking a task without being asked means everything. And that's the way that they feel loved.
I think that might be me because when I come home from a long day and my husband has done the dishes or helps me with the baby, those little things just mean the world to me. So, acts of service taps into the behavioral side of love, showing that you're willing to take time and effort to make someone's life easier. In behavioral psychology, these actions are seen as reinforcers, signaling care and commitment.
And now up next, we're gonna be talking about receiving gifts. I think that this one is often very misunderstood as materialistic, but it's really not about expensive gifts. It's the thought behind the gesture. It's about knowing when someone was thinking of you and put an effort into giving something that is meaningful.
Definitely. Gifts are symbolic of emotional investment. According to behavioral studies, gifts trigger positive feelings because they're seen as tokens of love and appreciation. It's an external sign of someone thinking about you, which can bring security in a relationship.
Moving on, now we have quality time. For people who speak this love language, it's all about giving your undivided attention. No phones, no distractions, just being fully present in the moment with your partner.
There's a psychological component here too. Research shows that spending quality time with loved ones reduces stress and strengthens emotional connections. It fosters what psychologists call emotional intimacy, which deepens trust. That's
my main one.
I think, yes, I think that's my main one because I think I have a little bit of like all of them?
Yeah, we do. We have all of them, just in a different percentage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why in the website, actually, there's a website for the 5 love languages. You can take a test, and it's going to tell you which one is your top,
Yeah.
and what degree do you want them.
I think this one is my top one. Quality time.
I agree.
I think it's so important, just being present in the
Yeah.
moment with the people that you love, no distractions, no phones, and being in the moment and having that quality time to connect. I think, yeah.
And then we have the opposite. We have physical touch. This doesn't just mean romantic touch, obviously. It could be holding hands, hugging, or just a simple pat on the back. For some people, physical contact is the most direct way for them to feel connected.
Physical touch triggers a release of oxytocin. As we mentioned earlier, it helps create feelings of comfort and security. It's also associated with reducing stress and anxiety, which we talk so much about on this podcast.
Exactly. So now that we've discussed a little bit about each one of them, we're going to dive into how understanding the love languages can improve so when you know your partners or your friends or family members' love language, you can show love in ways that are most meaningful to them. Because remember, your love language may be
Different.
physical touch, and they may be
different from your partner's love language, and that's why it's so important to understand each other's love language, so you can connect on a deeper, more meaningful level.
Exactly.
So it's about making intentional choices. If your partner's love language is acts of service and you're spending all your time giving verbal compliments, they may not feel truly loved. This creates what Chapman calls a love language gap.
Yes, and it's not just romantic relationships either. For example, knowing that your mom values quality time or receiving gifts can change the way you approach your relationship with her. Maybe instead of buying her something on her birthday, just spend the day together, and that can mean so much more.
And this awareness goes both ways. It can also help you communicate your own needs better. If you know that your love language is words of affirmation and you're not receiving that from your partner, you can have an open conversation about that.
And from a psychological perspective, understanding love languages can improve empathy and emotional intelligence. When we understand how others feel loved, we're better able to connect on an emotional level, and that is so important.
Exactly. Because the love languages provide a framework for recognizing that love is expressed in different ways. And once you're aware of that, it can reduce conflict in relationships. Don't we all want that? Miscommunication is one of the biggest reasons for relationship breakdowns, and the love languages help close that gap.
You know, one interesting thing that I found is that people can develop different love languages over time based on life experiences. You know, for example, someone who valued quality time in their 20s may shift to acts of service as they become busier with work or family. It's very important, again, to reevaluate and have ongoing conversations with your friends, your family, your partners or loved ones about it, because it's always changing.
So what's the takeaway? Understanding the 5 love languages can enhance relationships across the board, whether it's with your partner, your parents, your children, or even friends, co-workers, whatever. Knowing how each person feels and expresses love creates stronger emotional connections.
Exactly. So please take the time to learn your own love language and those of the people that you love and are around you, because small changes in how you communicate love can lead to big improvements in relationship satisfaction. And you know what? Sometimes we may not feel love from someone, but they're actually giving us love based on their love language and not on ours. So they may be bombarding us with all the love and the attention in their love language, but we don't feel that we are loved.
And that's that gap that Dr. Chapman was talking about.
So
understand each other's love language, your own and your partner's. And remember that love is a choice you make every day. So make it intentional. Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of Breaking Barriers, the mental health podcast. I really love this one because it's So important, and it's about love.
And it's so easy and simple to take action. Take a quick test, think introspectively about what you want, what you like, and
And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with someone you care about. Share it with everybody you love. It's a love episode.
and who knows, maybe you will learn something new about yourself.
So
Until next time, take care of yourself and each other, and
tune in for our next episode of Breaking Barriers, which is about therapy. This is certainly an episode you don't want to miss. We talked about the therapeutic approaches to ADHD, anxiety, stress with a seasoned clinical psychologist, Dr. Andres Cartaya. Guys, this is an episode you do not want to miss.
bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.